resisting this, but I don't think I can. 2 little ducks, 22. Yes, we are at session number 22. And I hope you're feeling fit and well and still continuing to exercise, most importantly, to help with our mental health as well as anything else. So let's just take the feet out a little bit wider, relax the knees, and then just twist the upper body. Turn the head and look over the shoulder, and maybe lift the heel and just twist. Loosening up a little bit, turning the head and twisting there, the arms dangle. And then coming back and bring the feet directly underneath the hips. Back of the head, shoulder blades, buttocks and heels up against the wall. Tailbone pointing down with the zip up and hollow. Opening up the hips, knees rolling out a little bit, and the arch of the foot lifting. And don't forget the Pilates, breathing full and wide into the ribs. And you don't interfere with that pull up and pull in. And then to start with that pull up and pull in, press the tummy button to the backbone and then pull right up as high as you can. Hold to breathe in and breathing out to release, and gently and slowly let the pelvic floor and the tummy release. Maybe think about having a lift inside you. So you're going to start off at floor number 3. So you've always got a little bit of a pull up and a pull in. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, pull up, floor by floor, up to floor number 10, top of the building. Hold to breathe in, and breathing out, then just release gently and slowly, floor by floor, back to number 3. So not going to let it go all the way down into the basement. Keeping that pull up and pull in all the time. So you're exhaling to pull up gently, floor by floor, hold at the top to breathe in, and then gently, gently allow it with control back to floor number 3. So you're engaging those core muscles, pulling up and pulling in, and of course the pelvic floor. Squeezing up that pelvic floor as well. Nice and smooth and with control. And then maybe one more time, pressing in, pulling up, and just squeeze up. Hold it at the top, and then gently, gently, all the way back to floor number 3. And hold that floor number 3, pulling up and pulling in. And then just lifting up the toes, spreading out the toes. Then put down the little one, the next one, the next one, the next one, and then the big toes. See if you can make a wave. Just lifting up the toes, little toe, next toe, next toe, next toe, and the big toes. You might want to have a look down and just check that they're doing what you're telling them to do. So one by one, just spreading out the toes, talking to the toes, getting those toes to move, if you can, individually. So just lifting up, then the little toe, the next one, the next one, the next one, and then finally the big toe. Then one more time, just lifting up and spreading out, keeping the toes spread. And then just rock forward into the balls of the feet, lifting the arms forward a little bit, and back into the heels and push back. Just lifting the heels a little bit, lifting the toes a little bit. So you're lifting the heels a little bit higher, lift the toes a little bit higher. Opening the chest as you push back. Work the posture muscle across the upper back, lifting the heels up nice and high, lifting the toes right up. Pushing all the way up, keep spreading out the toes to spread the load. Pushing up, and then see if you can rock back onto the heels and lift the balls of the feet up just briefly while you balance on the heels. Pushing back and lifting up. Those calf muscles working, core muscles working, and balancing. Reaching forward, pushing back, and then on the next one, just hold it up and balance. Hold and balance, keeping the shoulders down, spreading out the toes still. And then floating the heels down. Then from there, taking the legs out nice and wide, turn out the knees, turn out the toes. Keeping the chest lifted. Take it down to a deep squat and make some strong arms and push up tall. Keeping that chest open, shoulders back and down. When you do the squat, just think about sliding down the wall behind you. So you're not leaning forward, you're keeping the back of the head, the shoulder blades, the buttocks in contact with that wall. If that's too much for the knees, in this position, you could just bring the legs back into a narrow squat instead. And then see if you can hold that down. Keep the elbows high, nose in line with the sternum, and twist to the side. Bring it back, keeping the shoulders down, and twist. Exhale to twist, inhale to bring it back. Now if that's too much for the knees, stand up nice and tall. Just bring the knees and the feet together and keep the head lamps on the hip bones pointing forward and just twist. Do the twisty bit. You don't have to do the hold if it's too much for your knees. Keeping the elbows up high. Maybe one more time either side so you can really feel those thighs start to work. And then bringing it back to center and then pushing up nice and tall. Bringing the feet back into alignment. Checking the position again, and then this time taking it into a knee lift. Bring the knee forward and balance and float the foot down. If that's too much, of course, doing alternates, you just lift the heel and leave the ball of the foot on the floor. And exhale up maybe, inhale down, still keeping the back of the head, shoulder blades and the buttocks and that heel up against that imaginary wall. Balancing, but just lift the heel if it's too much. Keeping the chin down, of course, over the peach all the time. And then lifting up and then opening. Turn out the knee, open the chest, bring it back and put it down. Again, if that's too much, lift the heel, turn out the knee, keeping the head lamps on the hip bones pointing forward, head lamps on the chest pointing forward. So the torso stays absolutely stable, hopefully, while you do this. Getting flexibility into your shoulders, shoulder girdle, and of course the hip. Working into that inner and outer thigh as well. Open and close. Trying to keep your torso as absolutely still as you can. Balancing. Core muscles working. Then maybe you could challenge yourself a little bit more. Lifting up, turn it out, extend, and then what about focusing forward and going and bend aside. Go a little way, then maybe take a little bit further, and then gently bring it back. If that's too much, you don't need to add that on. So it would be a lift, and open, and extend, keeping the head lamps on the hip bones pointing forward. Take it a little way, hold, get the balance, take it a little bit further, lifting the leg if you can, keep the chest open, always one side better than the other side. Focus forward on something that doesn't move and bring it back and slide it under. Doing a lift and open. Remember, you don't have to add all of this on if it's too much. Stay there if you want to. If you can, you extend the leg, you could stay there. Or then you would go with the bend from the middle and just go as far as you can. Fingers pointing towards the floor and the ceiling. And then gently bring it back and slide under. Maybe one more time. Lift, open, extend if you can. If not, you just hold it there. And then you do your bend. And you focus forward on something that's not moving, which is why I'm not looking at me. I'm trying to look at something else that's not moving. Hold and balance, extend the leg. Gently bring it back and bring it back under. And then just checking your position again. Taking the arms behind you, opening the chest, keep that tailbone pointing down, so you're not arching your back, and then take a breath in, and as you breathe out, push back, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in, 2, 3, 4, 5, and push, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in, 2, 3, 4, 5, halfway, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in, 2, 3, 4, 5, keep going, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 more, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in, 2, 3, 4, 5, push back and hold. Open the chest, feel those shoulder blades pull back and down, and then just crisscross the arms behind you. So opening the chest, working that posture muscle across the upper back, a little bit of upper arm going on there as well. And then relax, give the arms a bit of a shake out. Back of the head, shoulder blades, buttocks and heels still up against that imaginary wall. And then pushing up onto the balls of the feet and floating the heels down, going back into those calf muscles again. Spreading out the toes, pushing up and down. Then see if you can lift that right arm up, reach it forward and sweep it round and take it back and down. And the other side, just lift it up, take it round and back and down. Reaching forward, so opening the chest, lie the shoulder blade down, but keep the head lands on the hip bones pointing forward. Head lands on the chest pointing forward. And then see if you can add a turn of the head, lifting up, turn the head, follow the hand, keeping those heels off the floor if you can. If not, of course, you could just put your heels down. Lifting up, follow the hand, take the arm all the way back. And you can see there's a little bit of wobbling going on here, so it's quite a challenge to keep your heels off the floor while you turn the head. But keep the head lamps on the hip bones pointing forward, so it's just the head and the arm that is moving. Really hard work for those core muscles, and of course you can feel those calf muscles work as well. Maybe exhale up, inhale to take it round and back and down. Maybe one more time, pushing up, sweeping round, and then bringing the heels down. And then getting your mat, and then standing at the back of your mat. Don't forget your posture. And then doing the roll down, drop the chin, relax the knees. Let your breathing flow and just roll down towards the toes. Drop, drop, drop. Hold it there, do the lovely nod and the shake just to release your upper back and neck. Keep the tummy button pulled up and in, and then slowly come up. Link by link, bone by bone, up against the wall, shoulders back and down. And again, just drop the head, relax the knees, gently rolling down. Maybe that little bit further. And then again, nodding, nodding, nodding. And then just shake, 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 shake. And then slowly come up. Supporting your back with those tummy muscles all the way up, all the way down. Pulling up and pulling in. And again, drop the chin, feel the stretch through the neck. Get the stretch through the back as you go down. All the way down. Hold it there again. Nodding, 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 just to release the neck, the upper back, shoulders. And then slowly come up. Link by link, bone by bone, up against that imaginary wall. Now I'm going to stretch the calf muscles that we've been working. If you don't want to do downward dog, you could stay standing, take a big step back, press the heel down into the floor, bring the weight forward, keep the chest lifted and feel the stretch through the calf. And of course, change legs. Otherwise, if you're okay with the downward dog, you're standing at the back of your mat, you do your roll down again, and then the nod and the shake, giving flexibility into the spine and neck. And then relax the knees and walk out into that downward dog. You bottom up, you head down, your heels slightly off the floor. And then just start to walk through the feet, pressing the heels down, push back through the hands and get a good stretch through those calf muscles. Pushing back, pressing down, dropping the head right down. Getting a good stretch through your spine as well. And then if you're doing the standing calf stretch, just do a roll down, a nod and a shake, and then walk out onto the hands and knees. If you're in your downward dog, you come onto the hands and knees. Make sure there's no dip in your back, so you're not going to stick your bottom up. And tuck the pelvis under, slide your shoulder blades down. Maybe spreading the fingers to spread the load, and then take the hands wider than the mat. Yes, press-ups coming. Now, if you don't want to do press-ups because of wrists or knees, you could stay sitting or go into sitting and just clasp the hands together, drop and lift. You could do that. If you don't like the arms over your head, you could bring the arms back, elbows behind you, and push back and under, keeping the elbows up so you don't scrape your knuckles against the floor. Keep the elbows high. And the other alternative, if it's not your wrists, it's your knees, you point your fingers towards your hips and you just bend the elbows straight back behind you and push up nice and tall. Now you can do that, but if you want to, it's more body weight on here, so promoting bone growth on your wrists and of course making those upper arms work harder. Keeping that weight forward, chest between the hands, and then extend your right leg out behind you, flex the foot. And breathing in, take your forehead in front of your hands, your chest between your hands, and push up. Keep extending through the leg so it's not bending. Breathing in to go down, breathing out to push up. Then you're working into the tricep muscles, a little bit of biceps, and of course the pectoral muscles in the chest, as well as your buttocks and your core. Maybe aiming for 5, 7 or 10. And as usual, I have no idea how many that is, so we're going to change sides, but you carry on and do more if you feel you can. And then again, you extend the leg out, flex the foot. Keep checking, maybe by turning your head to the side and looking, seeing that you've got your head in front of your hands, not between your hands. It's your chest that's going down. Then those upper arms are working as well as the chest. Breathing in to go down, breathing out to push up. And when you think you've done equal numbers on both sides, whether you've decided 5, 7 or 10, then all you do is sit back onto the heels, let the forehead rest down. You might just want to take those arms behind your palms up, rotate the wrists, maybe open those knees a little bit, get the hips back further, more stretch in the lower back and the buttocks. Or of course you can sit on your bottom, swing the legs round in front of you, put that big beach ball on your lap, tuck your pelvis under the beach ball and rotate the wrists. Lots of load bearing on those wrists there. And relax. And then if you're still sinking back onto the heels, coming into a sitting position please, swing the legs forward, sitting up nice and tall, make sure there's enough mat to roll down on. Reaching forward and then do your controlled roll back onto the floor. Remember, you can always hold on behind your thigh. You can put your hands behind you. You could even roll over onto your side and then roll over onto your back. But try and use those tummy muscles to get down into the lying position. And then slide the feet in, knees up, feet flat on the floor, and take a moment to set that up. Stretching fingertips towards your toes. Pop your little grape in the small of your back, tray marbles across the pelvis, orange width between the knees, making sure those hip bones stay level. So you're not going to allow your marbles to wobble about on your tray. And then neck relaxed, take a breath in, and as you breathe out, lift one knee up into tabletop. Breathe in and put it down. Exhale, other leg up into tabletop. Breathe in and put it down. Making sure when you lift the leg, you don't tilt the pelvis and crush the grape. When you put the foot down, you don't arch your back off your grape. So bracing the tummy, keeping that tray of marbles still, getting flexibility into your hips. Now if you wanted to work harder, you could start in tabletop. So you lift one leg up into tabletop, press your back into the mat, lift the other leg up into tabletop, then relax your back, put your grape underneath, and then you could tap one foot down, lift it up, other foot down, lift it up. So you could do that if you want to, which would be a little bit more challenging. And there is a halfway house with that one. You could lift one leg, other leg, first foot down, second foot down, other leg, and then second leg, first foot down, second foot down. So you would alternate the leg you start with, so you're not always in that tabletop position. So you decide which one you want to do, and maybe you're doing the tap and lift, which is a little bit harder than that one, or you can do both legs together. But make sure if you're tapping both the feet down, lifting up, that the back does not arch or the pelvis tilt, and also make sure you don't bend your knees and just tap your feet onto the floor, because that's cheating. You keep the legs at that 90-degree angle at the hip and the knee, and you tap and lift. And you'll really feel the difference if you're doing that properly. So you decide how many of those you want to do and which level you want to do. And then just hug those knees into the chest. Maybe have a little rock side to side and release your back. Keep the neck relaxed, the shoulders relaxed. And then putting one foot down, the other foot down. Floating the arms up towards the ceiling. Orange between the knees, little trade marbles across your pelvis. And breathing in, nudge your head, breathing out, curl forward, reach past your thighs towards your calves, push, hold to breathe in, and breathing out to roll it back down. Breathing in to nod, breathing out to push forward, hold it there, and then gently roll down. So you're going to be crushing your grape. When you curl forward, you hold on to that orange. Remember that you can support the head with one hand while you reach forward with the other, but keep the shoulders level. You can also push your tongue up into the roof of your mouth to relax the front of your throat, making sure that pelvis doesn't move. You crush your grape by curling up, looking underneath that orange. And you do as many as you feel comfortable with. And then relax back down, maybe let the head roll from side to side. Ease out any tension in the neck. Keep stretching the fingers towards your toes, keeping the length through the neck. And then coming back to the start position, stretch the legs out, take the arms over the top of your head, and stretch through those hip flexors that you worked, and your tummy muscles. Lengthening through. Get a good stretch, lift the rib cage away from the hips and the hips away from the rib cage. And then sliding the feet back in, knees up, feet flat on the floor. Then of course you know what's coming now, you're going to join the two together. Floating the arms up towards the ceiling. Breathing in, nod your head, breathing out, curl up, lift knee to tabletop, push forward to breathe in, and breathing out to go down. Curling forward and push. So you can stay with that level. Remember you can support the head with one hand while you reach forward with the other. If it's too much to do both together, maybe you could do legs first and then a curl up and then go back to the legs. So you could do upper and lower separately. Or of course you could move it on to the next level. You can lift one leg up to tabletop, press your back into the mat, lift the other leg up into tabletop, and then tap one foot down, roll it back up, other foot down, roll it back up. But remember that you are keeping that pelvis as stable as you can while you do that. Or of course there was the halfway house, wasn't there? You could do curling forward, lift, lift, lower, lower. And alternate the leg that you start with. Or of course you could do both legs together. So you curl forward, tap the feet down, roll it back, tapping feet down, rolling back. So be exhaling up, inhale, hold, exhale to roll back. But you decide which level and how many you're going to do. And when you've had enough, you just relax back down, hug those knees into the chest, have a little rock side to side, and then relax, let the head roll from side to side, holding those legs into the chest, just to release that lower back. Release the neck, and then putting one foot down, the other foot down. Stretch out the legs, stretch out the tummy, and give yourself a really good stretch all the way through, stretching those hip flexors that you've worked as well as the tummy. And then gently, please, roll over onto your right side. Taking that right arm back a little bit, then you've got a nice straight line from the fingertips to the back of the head to the shoulder blades to the buttocks and the heels. Maybe just have a look down and check that you've got that straight line by just having a look and seeing your toes. If you can't see your toes, you need to bring the feet forward. If you can see too much of your feet, you need to take the legs back so you're parallel to the edge of the mat. Waist lifted a little bit. Think about just lifting that waist off hot stone underneath. And keep the legs long. Neck relaxed. Still got your peach underneath your chin, between your chin and your chest. Just check that shoulder doesn't come up around the ear. You might want to put the hand behind to open the chest, pull the shoulder back and down. You could always do that. Or you could have the hand down the seam of the trouser leg, but you need to know what you're going to do first. So maybe with the hand in front, which makes it easier. Further out, easier. Closer in a little bit harder to make the base narrower. And then lifting that top leg. And then either flex or point, whichever works better, or just even relax the ankle. And then circle the leg. Try to keep yourself as stable as you can while you do that. Make sure you take the leg behind as well as in front, and then your buttock will work. If you just draw the circles in front, there's no buttock work at all, and you're not challenging your balance nearly as much. Remember, cup of tea on the outside of your hip. Then once you've got it going, then you could challenge your balance with where you put that left hand. Circling, trying to keep your cup of tea on the outside of the hip. And then maybe change direction, make it go the other way. One circle on an in-breath, one circle on an out-breath, or even half a circle on an in-breath, half a circle on an out-breath. Because you need to do it slowly and with control to keep that cup of tea still on the outside of your hip. Balancing. And then maybe hold it. And then what about lifting that bottom leg off the floor? Keep lengthening through that bottom leg and hold it. And then go the other way again. Circling, circling. Now you might need to rethink the position again of that top hand. You might need to bring it in front now that you've got that bottom leg off the floor. You're trying to keep lengthening through that bottom leg, hovering it off the floor. If that's too much, of course, you just put the leg back down again. Feeling that outside hip and thigh starting to work maybe now. Inner thigh on that bottom leg. And of course, mainly the core to balance. And then hold and make it go the other way again. Circling, circling through that top leg. Feel that flexibility in your hip and just watching that top shoulder doesn't start to creep up around the ear. And when you've done enough circlings, just relax, bend the knees forward, maybe give the outside of the hip a little rub and a smack and get rid of the burn that's probably going on in there now. And then stretching the legs out, take the top arm over the top of your head, take hold of that top wrist with the bottom hand, give a little tug and lengthen down the side. Because you have been working your waist a little bit there when you have both legs off the floor. Lengthening through, stay balancing, so those core muscles are still working. Holding that there for a little while, get a good stretch. And then gently, please, roll over onto your front. And then just maybe take the forehead down onto the backs of the hands. And lengthen through the legs. Then taking the heels in and the toes out. So bring the heels in together. Immediately your buttocks will clench, the inner thighs work a little bit. Keeping the head down, the neck relaxed, keep the legs long, and then just lift that right leg. Lift and lower. Squeeze the buttock, exhale up and inhale back down. Just isolate that leg. Nice and smooth, keep lengthening through the leg, try and keep the heel turned in, toes turned out. Of course, you're keeping your head down, so the neck is relaxed. Just keep lengthening through both of the legs, and then change legs. Keep those heels turned in, toes turned out. Then you're going to isolate the buttock, the inside of the buttock, and also a little bit of inner thigh. But the core muscles working to keep the cup of tea still on the back of the pelvis. Exhale to lift and inhale to lower. Try to keep your torso as stable as you can, keeping those hip bones glued onto the floor, being aware of your pelvis staying flat. And then holding that there when you've done approximately equal numbers on both sides. And then just hover
one leg again, the other leg. Keep the heel turned and toes turned out, and then circle the leg. Nice and smooth. Maybe one circle on an in-breath, one circle on an out-breath, and keeping that pelvis as stable as you can. Maybe 5 approximately in one direction, and then take it in the opposite direction. Of course, you can do more repetitions if you prefer. Trying to keep the heel turned in and the toes turned out to isolate the inner buttock muscles. And of course, still keeping that torso as stable as you can. And then when you're ready, swapping to the other side. Hovering the leg, but just be aware of those hip bones on the floor and trying to keep them on the floor so you're not tilting your pelvis at all from side to side. Keeping the head down and the neck relaxed. And you know how rubbish I am at counting, but I think that might be approximately 5. And then you go the other way. Try and keep the leg as long as you can by keeping the heel turned in, toes turned out, and the feet flexed a little bit. And then when you've done approximately 5 in each direction, hold it there. Now see if you can lift and lower both the legs. Heels turned in, toes turned out. Still lengthening through the legs. If that's too much, just stay with alternate single leg. And of course with the doubles, you're adding in the lower back. So you could always do single, single, double as a kind of halfway house if you don't want to do continuous doubles. But if you're managing the doubles all right, you could hover and then tap. 5 little taps on the in-breath, 5 little taps on the out-breath, and relax the legs back down. But again, if that's too much, you can stay with just lift and lower, or you can do single, single, double, or you can do continuous doubles, or you can hold the legs up and do 5 little taps on the in-breath, 5 little taps on the out-breath, and in-breath, you go down. And you repeat that as many times as you want to. And then just relax, maybe take the feet out into a wider V shape, turn the big toes in towards one another, and let the forehead rest on the backs of the hands. Keep that tummy button pulled up and in. Relaxing the buttocks now, and then taking a breath in. And as you breathe out, just lift the head, the shoulders, and the chest off the floor, keeping the eyes focused on the backs of the hands, and then gently down. Keep your peach underneath your chin, between your chin and your chest, ears pointing forward. Remember, you can always turn your head to the side as your cheek rest. Lift up, turn the head, look at the hands, and then gently take it back down again, turning the cheek to the side. But if you can, forehead on the floor, and just lift, as if you're lifting up into my hand, which is pressing down between the shoulder blades, and trying to push with the arms. You're lifting with your back, not your neck. The ears point forward. Exhale to lift and inhale to lower, keeping the buttocks relaxed. And then see if you can leave the hands glued onto the forehead, and then lift and lower. Exhale to lift and inhale to lower. Again, keeping everything stable from the waist down. If that's too much, you stay with the arms on the floor. And then if you want to, you could add on to that. You could exhale up, inhale, hold. Exhale, arms straight out to the side, crucifix position. Hold to breathe in. Breathing out, bring the hands back under the forehead. And gently down. But if that's too much, you don't need to do that. You can stay with any of the earlier options. So it would be exhale up, inhale, hold. Exhale, reaching out to the side. Keep the shoulders down, make sure they don't go up around the ears. And then bring the hands back under and gently take it down. So you decide which level, but keep everything below the waist absolutely still. And if you want to, you could add something else onto that too. You would do exhale up, inhale, hold. Exhale, arms out, crucifix. Hold to breathe in, breathing out, reach forward. Hold to breathe in, breathing out, hands under, and gently down. But again, if that's too much, you don't need to do that at all. Any which one of the earlier options. But if you can, exhale up, inhale, hold. Exhale, reach, inhale, hold. It doesn't have to be high. And then exhale, reach forward, inhale, hold. Exhale, back under, and inhale down. And you're ready to lift again on the out breath. There is one more level if you're interested at all. You do exhale up, inhale, hold. Exhale, reach out, inhale, hold. Exhale, forward, inhale, and just crisscross the arms at the wrists. Maybe 5 little crisscrosses on an in-breath, 5 on the out-breath, and then gently bring the hands back under and take it back down. But again, if that's too much, you don't need to do that. Try to keep everything still from the waist down. So just to repeat that one more time, exhale to lift, inhale, hold. Exhale out, inhale, hold. Exhale, reach forward, and then just start with the crisscrosses. Hold it there for as long as you feel comfortable-ish. 5 little crisscrosses on the in-breath, 5 crisscrosses on the out-breath, and then just gently bring it back and release down. And you do as many repetitions as you want to, then come up onto the hands and knees. Arch the back, drop the head, pull the tummy button up and in, and stretch from the back of your neck all the way down to your tail. Big stretch, ears pointing down, tailbone pointing down, open up the vertebrae. Remember, you can always come up onto your knuckles if it's more comfortable for your wrists. And if you can, sit back onto the heels. Let the forehead rest down. You could take the arms behind your palms up. You could reach the arms in front. You can open those knees a little bit, get those hips back further. And remember, if that is not comfortable, you sit on your bottom. Swing your legs round in front of you. And either reach over beach ball for your toes, or you sit and hug the knees into the chest and drop the head over the knees and tuck your pelvis underneath the ball. So you decide which one you're going for. Get a good stretch in that lower back. Hold that there. And then if you just want to, the best way you know how, take yourself onto your left side. Take a moment to set that up. Make sure you've got a nice straight line parallel to the edge of your mat. Shoulder back and down, lengthening through the legs, keeping everything stacked. And then hovering that top leg, and then do your little circles. Maybe one circle on an in-breath, one circle on an out-breath. Keep lengthening through the legs. And then once you've got it going, then you would have a little challenge with yourself and move that top hand. Remember, you could have it down the seam of your trouser leg, but you're trying to keep that cup of tea still on the outside of your hip. See what happened there? Wobbling going on. Need to rethink the position of that hand. Further out easier, closer in harder. Change direction, make that circle go the other way. Keep engaging the tummy, keeping that cup of tea still, a little bit of a gap between the waist and the floor. Take the leg behind as well to get those buttocks, or that buttock anyway, to work. And again, challenge yourself with where you put that right hand. Then hold it and then hover that bottom leg, if you can, off the floor. And then change direction again with the circling of that top leg. Balance. Now it's going to be a little bit more challenging with that bottom leg off the floor. So if it's too much, of course you can put it back down and just focus on that top leg. That outside hip and thigh working, but really trying to challenge your core to keep everything as stable as you can. So you could even do it slower and do half a circle on an in-breath, half a circle on an out-breath, whichever works better. Keep lengthening through that bottom leg and then change direction and make that circle go the other way. Trying to keep that torso as stable as you can while you do this. Lengthening through the legs, keep the head down, the neck relaxed. Getting flexibility into the hip, as well as really switching on those core muscles. Balancing, keeping that top hip roll forward, try not to roll back onto the buttock. And then when you've had enough with that top outside hip and thigh, just bend the knees forward in front of you. Give the outside of the hip a little rub and a smack again. Get rid of any burn. And then stretching the legs out. Take the top arm over the top of your head, take hold of that top wrist and lengthen down the side. Still balancing. Keep those core muscles working all the time. Just lengthening through the legs. Keep breathing full and wide, holding that there. And then gently, please, roll over onto your back. And then let's just do some lovely stretching. Keeping the knees of the feet together, taking the arms out to the side in a crucifix position. Just roll the knees over to your right side, keeping those knees together while you turn your head and look along that left arm. Hold that there. Keep the palms turned down to help to keep the shoulder blades down. And then, if you can, just unbend that top leg, but make sure the thigh stays on top of the thigh and the knee stays on top of the knee. If you roll your hip back and the leg comes away from the other leg, then you don't do that. You stay just with the bent legs. But you need to keep the thigh on top of the thigh and the knee on top of the knee. Unbending the leg will get you a little bit of extra stretch. And then bending the knee, bringing the legs back to centre, over to the other side, and turn the head, look along the right arm, and then unbend the leg if you can. But if you roll the hips back, then you don't do that one. Otherwise you lose the stretch. Keep those hips rolled forward, get a good stretch outside hip and thigh, round your middle, down the side of your body and your neck. And then bending the knee, bringing the knees back up, and then maybe bring the arms back down by your side, get the length through the neck, and then soles of the feet together. Just stretch those inner thighs, relax into that stretch. Maybe slide the heels a little bit closer in, let the weight of your legs take your knees towards the floor. Just relax into that stretch. Still breathing full and wide. And then extending the legs out. And roll gently over, please, onto your front. Taking the forehead down onto the back of one hand, reach behind with the other hand for the foot on the same side. And remember, if you can't get the foot, you can get hold of the sock or the trouser leg. And you can use the other ankle just to ease the leg in if you can't get hold of the foot or the sock or the trouser leg. Lifting head and shoulders if you want to increase the intensity of the stretch. But keep your eyes focused on the back of the hand, then you're not going to engage your neck. And then changing legs when you're ready. Heel to bottom, knees together, press that hip into the floor, get a good stretch down the front of the hip and the thigh, lifting head and shoulders, but only if you feel you need that extra stretch. And replacing the foot to the floor, coming up onto the hands and knees, and just do your angry pussycat stretch. Arch the back, drop the head, tummy button pulled up and in. Remember, you can always come up onto your knuckles if it's not comfortable on the palms. Just tuck under, arch up, drop that head right down. And then just coming into a sitting position, please. Swing the legs round in front of you, sitting up nice and tall. Straight legs, pop the hands down by your thighs and slide your hands out towards your feet. Keep the shoulders down. Press the backs of the knees into the floor. And then maybe push the heels away from you. Get a bit more stretch through the calves as well. Keep the shoulders down. Breathing in, breathing out. Maybe just walk those fingers a little bit further out. You've got lower back, buttocks stretching also. Pushing the heels away. Good stretch down the backs of the legs. And relax, sitting up nice and tall, either with the legs bent, straight or crossed, however's comfortable. If that's not comfortable sitting, so that your back is maybe getting a bit of a curve in it, just pop a cushion underneath your bottom, just to help to lift you up a little bit and to straighten the back, make it more comfortable. And right hand, palm down, underneath your buttocks, sit upon it, and drop your left ear down into your shoulder. Hold that there. Stretch neck, stretch shoulder, and then just release, lengthen up, slide the shoulder blades down,
and drop the chin all the way down into the chest. Try and keep that back up nice and tall with the tummy button pulled up and in, putting up that pelvic floor a little bit too. Just use the weight of the head to stretch the back of the neck. Slide those shoulder blades all the way down your back, lengthen. And then lifting the head up, left hand palm down underneath buttock and sit upon it. And drop your right ear into your shoulder. Still sitting up nice and tall. Lengthen through the neck. And then just release, peach underneath the chin, and turn the head and look as far as you can over that right shoulder without tipping the top of the head back. And then again, keeping that peach in place, just take the head round and look over the left shoulder. And get some more flexibility into the neck. And gently dropping the chin down, lifting the head up, and release the shoulders forward, up and round and back and down. Get those shoulders moving. Open the chest, lift the right arm up, drop the hand behind your head and ease the arm back. Stretch into the back of the arm by the ear by the arm. And the other arm, just reach it up, drop it down, give it a little push back. Get a really good stretch through those tricep muscles. And then relax again. And then again, just release those shoulders. Big shoulder roll. And there we are, session number 22. All finished. And hoping to see you all fit well, still exercising next week. Bye for now.